Unit 5, Green Skills 1. Introduction. People live in places like villages, towns, and cities of different states and countries, thus forming a society. The society interacts with the environment in different forms and changes it due to the pressures put on the environment by the social requirements. This affects the ecological balance in the environment. People utilize the resource, pollute them with wastes, and forget to replenish the lost vigor of the components of the environment. The environment around us affects all aspects of our life, and all our day-to-day activities also affect the environment. Those who live in cities get their food supply from surrounding villages and in turn are dependent on forests, grasslands, rivers, seashores for resources such as water, fuel, wood, fodder, etc. We use resources from which food is made, and we depend on the community of living plants and animals which form a web of life. Everything around us forms our environment, and our lives depend on the flora and fauna around us. Similarly, our school environment comprises the physical and the socio-cultural environment. The physical environment includes the school building and the classrooms, library, laboratories, corridors, kitchen, toilets, garden, and also the playground. The socio-cultural environment is manifested by the school with climate teaching by the teachers, students' activities, inclusivity and attitude towards learning, social behavior, discipline, respect for each other's caste, religion and creed, achievement of students, etc. Environment. Environment refers to abstract situation that prevails in their relevant surroundings. The word environment is derived from the French word environ, which means surrounding. With respect to nature, it can be termed as a shelter or habitat for living and non-living organisms where they can be properly placed, can find food and breed freely. It is contributed by and is created amongst air, sky, trees, rivers, oceans, mountains, etc. that surrounds our earth. Environment is the greatest creativity as it is beautiful, mathematical, planned, healthy, positive and balanced. We often term them together as nature. Nature itself maintains the balance in the environment by creating a chain where the autotrophs are hunted and eaten by heterotrophs and thus terms an ecosystem. Autotrophs are the producers and heterotrophs are the consumers. Our environment refers to the sum total of conditions that surround us at a given point in time and space. Our surroundings include two main components: abiotic or non-living aspects of earth like land, water, air and soil. Biotic or living organisms like human beings, animals and plants. Environment. Natural environment. It includes all living and non-living things which occur naturally on earth such as mountains, animals, plants, land, etc. Man-made environment. It comprises the structures made by humans such as roads, markets, factories, bridges, parks, etc. Relationship between society and environment. Man is a social animal. By being social, it is meant that he shares his resources and spends his life among other people together in groups. Man is the part of the environment and at the same time, man forms the society. Society is a framework in which people live together by maintaining common implied rules and ethics for a peaceful and prosperous living. Thus, societies are an important component of environment. So, in other words, we can say that the society becomes part of the environment. The relationship between society and environment has been prevalent for thousands of years. This long tenure has caused a fluctuating impact on the environmental stability. Human activities which are conducted as a part of development or social welfare or growth are affecting the ecological balance. With rising luxuries in the society, we tend to misuse the resources of environment, which is actually disrupting the natural chain or system of the environment. The relationship between society and environment can be broadly defined into two forms. Physical environment is composed of the conditions that nature provides to man. It includes natural resources. Social environment is the culture that individuals live in. The social environment consists of three kinds of environment: cultural, economic, and psychosocial. Ecosystem. Ecosystem is a community of all the living and non-living components of nature that are dependent on each other. An ecosystem is formed when living things like plants, animals, and other organisms in an area interact with each other as well as with the non-living components like weather, sun, soil, climate, and atmosphere. In an ecosystem, each organism has a role play. There are two types of ecosystem. Natural ecosystems. They are those that develop without human intervention. They are much more varied than artificial ones and have been extensively classified. For instance, dry forest, polar desert, seabed. There are two main types of natural ecosystems: terrestrial ecosystem, land-based. Terrestrial ecosystem refers to the ecosystems found on land. They can be classified based on climate and temperature. These are discussed in detail below. Desert ecosystem. The desert ecosystem can be seen existing in their Arctics as well as the tropics. As presumed, not all of the deserts are hot. Some are usually windy. The most striking feature of this ecosystem is the amount of participation it receives, which is the least as compared to any other ecosystem. A few deserts comprise rocks while some have sand dunes. Flora is very rare, but highly adaptive animal species and insects are found here. Forest ecosystem. The forest ecosystem is classified on the basis of the climate, which can either be tropical, temperate, or boreal. In temperate zones, the forest ecosystem can have a deciduous, coniferous type or a combination of both types of flora. The tropics have rainforest ecosystems, which include the most diverse animal and plant ecosystem in comparison to any region on the planet. In this region, trees are found growing tall with denser foliage and humid environment, wherein species are found right from the roots up till the canopy. Grassland ecosystem. The grassland ecosystems are found in steppes, savannas, and prairies in the tropical and temperate regions. They could be found in colder regions and have a prevalent feature, semi-aridity. The trees in these regions are close to non-existence and flowers may be distributed along with the grass. These ecosystems are typical for animal grazing. Aquatic ecosystem. As the name suggests, these include the ecosystems found within water bodies. They are the most common types of ecosystem found on the earth, as water covers around 75% of the earth's surface. It is divided into two groups. Freshwater. Freshwater constitutes only about 3% of a total 75%. Some examples of natural ecosystems that fall within this category are lakes, rivers, ponds, streams, wetlands, etc. Rivers and streams originating from mountains carry essential nutrients which are then deposited in lakes and ponds. Freshwater is also the habitat for a variety of plants, animals, and microbes. Marine ecosystem. This is one of the most diverse forms of ecosystems. It consists of coral reefs, kelp forests, mangroves, salt marshes, rocky shores, deep sea, the open ocean, and so on. Artificial ecosystems. They are created by human action and did not previously exist in nature, for instance, reservoir, greenhouse, streams. Ecological imbalance. Ecological imbalance is a situation in which the number of species of a particular organism either increases or decreases very much, due to which the self-adjusting power of the system starts to weaken. Factors responsible for ecological imbalance. Various factors cause ecological imbalance. Let us read about some of the important factors. They are as follows. Overpopulation. Human overpopulation is among the most demanding environmental issues. It is the root cause of various other ill effects like global warming, environmental pollution, habitat loss, intensive farming practices, and consumption of finite natural resources such as fresh water, arable land, and fossil fuels in comparison to their rate of generation. Deforestation. Large-scale deforestation has been continuing since independence due to over-exploitation and mismanagement of forest resources. During the first 2 decades of planning, that is from 1951 to 1972, India lost about 3.4 million hectares of forest land, out of which about 70% of that area was lost to river valley projects, roads, and communications and industries. Deforestation is still continuing at a rapid scale, and the problem has reached to such a proportion that it has totally disturbed the ecological balance of the country. Industrial pollution. For the developing country like India, industrialization has been the result of rapid development in technology and the increasing demands in our daily lives. But the main concern is that most of our factories are not eco-friendly. These factories consume a lot of water and electricity and release harmful chemicals in air, land, and water, thus contaminating the atmosphere. This causes soil pollution and climate change, which is dangerous for Earth's biodiversity. Agricultural practices. In modern agricultural practices, the fertilizers and pesticides are used to produce more crops. The biggest issue facing the use of chemical fertilizers is groundwater contamination. For example, nitrogen fertilizers break down into nitrates and travel easily through the soil. Being water-soluble, they can remain in groundwater for decades. The pesticides that are used do not just fall on the crops and stay there, but are transported via wind and water and affect the surrounding ecosystem. Landfills. Landfills are the places where we put our garbage and other waste materials. This waste rots and decomposes and produces harmful gases that contribute to global warming. Landfills also pollute the local environment, including the groundwater and the soil. Majority of landfills are located in metro cities and towns. Mining. The process of digging the earth for the extraction of the ores results into erosion, formation of sinkholes, and contamination of soils that causes severe damage to the environment. It disturbs the natural living and breeding place of various living organisms and life of people residing in nearby area. It leads to soil erosion, landslide, noise pollution, and contamination of surface and groundwater due to the chemicals released during the extraction process. E-waste and plastics. Electronic waste, commonly referred to as e-waste, is any electronic device that has been discarded by its former user and is one of the fastest growing waste streams on the planet. Individuals, businesses, industry, and government form part of its target users. Plastics and polythene are not biodegradable. Plastics stay for hundreds of years and can be hazardous to wildlife as it throws toxins into the environment. This leads to groundwater pollution, land pollution, air pollution, and poisons our food chain.